just got done with the test flight here in Mineral Wells, Texas, and plane autopilot flew wonderfully. Now we're going to take her back home. So thank you very much to Chad and Simpson at STEC. That was a lot of fun flying with their lead test pilot, learning all the things that it can do, and we'll talk about all the amazing features of this thing. There's way too much to talk about while we're taxiing here. I'm going to finish getting set up for a VFR. I was going to do IFR, but then I decided I really wanted to play with the altitudes and climbs and stuff, so I just decided we'll go VFR. The weather looks pretty good to Aurora, which is 707 nautical miles away on a 034 heading. So we're taxiing out for runway 13 and we'll make the call. Mineral Wells traffic, Twin Cessna 771 Bravo Charlie is taxiing runway 13 for departure. Mineral Wells will be departing the area to the north. Alrighty, we'll get up here, do the quick run up. We'll be back. Okay, Mineral Wells traffic, you got a Twin Cessna 1 Bravo Charlie. Going to depart runway 13, VFR departure to the north. Mineral Wells will be climbing up to 7.5. Alrighty. So we're good to go. Flaps are up, fuel pumps are on low, fuel's on the main tanks, lights are on. On the center line, bottle's coming up, 1700 RPM. Everything's looking good. We're releasing the brakes. Airspeed's alive, 70, 80, 90, rotate. Tap the brakes, coming up. Yaw dampers on. Gonna set about a 26 heading and see how that works.
447 Wing Sarah, inbound ILS 31, currently 8 to the south at 2800.
We'll set the climb power. Or the nose just a skosh. Set the autopilot on. Set it at 5500. Turn it on heading. Vertical speed. Do 900 feet per minute for now. I have to figure out my normal departure procedures. Forward center, Twin Cessna 771 Bravo Charlie off Mineral Wells with the request.
Alright, 771 Bravo Charlie, Fort Worth Center, go ahead.
Yes sir, we're about 4 miles northeast of Mineral Wells, climbing out at 3,000 for 7,500, looking for VFR flight following up to Chicago Aurora Airport, Alpha Romeo Romeo. We're Cessna 310.
1 Bravo Charlie, squawk 0565.
0565 for 1 Bravo Charlie. Oh my god, I'm gonna love this autopilot, guys. My workload.
Number 1 Bravo Charlie, radar contact 3 miles northwest of Minerals, correction, northeast of Minerals Airport. Minerals altimeter is 3030 south to leaving.
3030, we're leaving 3.6 for 7.5, 1 BC. So far, so good. She's climbing through 6,000 feet on her own nav course. Traffic 1,600 feet below us over there. We're through 6,300 feet for 7,500. The only thing this autopilot doesn't do is auto throttles, so I'm bumping up the throttles. I reckon that case is the same. So we got new cameras. This is a new GoPro there. So we're gonna put this GoPro in the case here.
125, contact Force Center 132.907. 3297, 125.
Alright, so if I was to hold it right there, that would be pretty daggum close.
Good morning, Center. November 9177, Sierra with you out of 4,000.
Oh, the best place to put this.
177.
And approach 1 Bravo Charlie. We're going to go down to 5,500 for clouds for a bit.
Or 1 Bravo Charlie, not a problem, maintain VFR.
1 BC, Wilco. So, after making that slight turn for the descent, getting down to 5,500, got past this area of clouds over here. Supposed to be clear ahead. So, I anticipate just a little bit of this scuzzy, hazy, cloudy stuff right here. We'll be good to go. But even down here, ground speed stays the same at 186, so we're looking pretty good. Got all the CHCs below 380. Jamie, unfortunately, could not make this particular trip. She is working. So, don't think she'll be there by the time we get there, though. Saturday. I don't know, yeah, I think she's morning shift. It's 11:30 now, 11, 12, 1, 2, should be there around 2:50 or so. So we can discuss a little bit of our upcoming plans. As I mentioned, we're flying the airplane back, brand new STEC 3100, which so far, I did the takeoff, turned it on, and she's been doing everything else. And like I said, it's been a little bit bumpy down here at 5,500. She's tracking, intercepting. Back there, I switched off in nav mode, went to heading mode to go around those clouds as I was descending, set up a 500 foot per minute rate of descent, worked out perfect. So after get back home here, 3 hours, I'll let the engines cool down just a little bit. We'll pop the cowlings open and start draining the oil.
7 Sierra 4.
77 Sierra, go ahead.
77 Sierra, do you want to remain over Ardmore, or would you like to proceed directly
we'll
to
get
Charlie Echo Airport?
The airplane loaded up, the oil will be changed, and we'll fly down to Sun and Fun. And so hopefully we'll see some of you guys down in Sun and Fun. It'll be our first time down there, we're really excited.
77 Sierra.
Hopefully the weather
You're cleared, direct Romeo, Charlie Echo.
participates, and we're able to make it down there just fine, without any issues.
Romeo, Charlie Echo Airport for 77 Sierra.
Then when we get done, when we're at Sun and Fun, we're gonna try to meet up with some people. Definitely gonna swing by, check out some different units because we're starting to think
contact for center,
about replacing these GPSs. The 530 and 430 and 530 WAS. They've been really good units. We've had them since we bought the airplane, even lost this one. But they're 20 years old now. So we're going to swing by and check out some of the different units that are available for modernizing our GPSs and probably our audio panel. So stand by for that.
Jesse 148, radar contact 5 miles south.
Then we bring the airplane back up home and drop it off for the annual inspection over at our shop, Burlington Air Center there.
029er, and not yet. I think we're going to hang out here a little while, do some maneuvers, and then we can let you know whenever we head back to the line.
We got multiple things planned for that. The left main tires needs to be replaced. The seat belts we discussed. Visors. We still need to find Jamie a clip-on mirror for the rosin sun visors, but the rosin ones will be tinted. You can move them all around, so we're excited about that. This part of the panel, we'll definitely have to recut that part of the panel. We'll show this here with my mount that didn't work. So if you look, this is where the old Autopilot mode selector was. Well, that's gone. We don't need that anymore. We weighed some of that stuff too. I think it was somewhere between like 30 or 40 pounds when we pulled the old Cessna 400. So this was where the control head was for the Autopilot. They removed it, and instead of putting a little metal cover there, they left the case with the backfill, so now I can put stuff in there. You can have a place to put your phone, pens, different things. That's pretty neat.
Howdy, Center, Scouts 4208, 14000.
Have the Autopilot master and the trim master here.
That was 4208.
That's where the old turn and bank indicator used to be. Didn't need that anymore. It controlled the yaw damper because we got built-in yaw damper right here. As you can see, the yaw damper's been on and it works fabulously. So, the old marker beacons, mode selector. So as you can tell, this DME we don't need that anymore. If you can tell, this panel is starting to look pretty rough here. What we need is this right here, which is called the 6-pack, where you got your airspeed indicator, we got our attitude indicator, altimeter, got a backup attitude indicator in place for the turn coordinator. We got our HSI and our vertical speed indicator. We have our engine monitor and our backup CDI for the number 2 radio.
3297 American 281.
So what I want to do is move that CDI up here and then cut an all-new panel. Hopefully they'll be able to do that during the annual. So the only thing left in this panel will be crystal clean with just those 6 instruments plus these 2 right there. That will look nice and pretty. And we'll make sure that they, get a nice gray color, and we'll try to get all these colors to match here. So that's the plan for the pilot side over here. And then we will be good to go as far as that. The throttle quadrant, everything looks good. And then some of our switch panels underneath here is good. These are the 4 magnetos. There's 2 on each engine. Here's for the alternators and the master switch. This over here is to prime the engines, and then the starter for each engine, and that's where the fuel pumps are. That part of the panel looks really good. This part of the panel over here looks fine as well.
Center, Malibu 550.
Not certain how this will look. It depends on what we end up replacing our GPSs with. This gauge right here, that's our suction gauge. So we got a vacuum pump on each engine, and the suction gauge shows you that the vacuum pumps are working. If one of the 2 engines' vacuum pumps were to quit, you would see a red inoperative thing in there. So the suction for this airplane today, all that's left is this attitude indicator. That's it. And I could have kept an electric turn coordinator and pulled the vacuum pumps all together. However, they do run my de-ice boots, which are the black surface out there on the wings, right there on the leading edge of the wings. If I start picking up ice building up on the wings, I push a button, it inflates those boots, makes them expand, and then the ice sheds off. So I'm always going to have vacuum pumps. So that's the vacuum gauge. Next thing is our outside air temperature, which it's currently showing just a hair under 30 degrees, which matches up very nicely with what the inside shows at 29.2 degrees. So those things are matching up pretty well. As we continue over in this range, this thing, I have no idea. It was some version of some clock that don't work anymore. That's going to get pulled out. This is our hops meter. It just shows how many hours that I have on the engines. Well, I mean, we don't have 981 hours, but it resets, you know, and it tells you, you know, if you put a new hops meter in at 0, you just show that in the logbook. Right now, the engines have about 500 hours on them. And then this is for the prop de-ice. It shows the amps, and you want to see that in the green arc. And that needle will jump back and forth because all the propellers have heat elements on them. And so if I flip the switch, what I did was I color-coded my switches over here on the light panel, and you guys will have to forgive me because I'm jumping all over the place. But I made the lights, just the regular lights, white. So what you have is a rotating beacon, nav lights, which you don't need at nighttime, strobe lights, which, you know, is up to the pilot when you use those. I'm out in the middle of nowhere in the daytime right now, so I have them off, but you could easily have those on. And then the taxi lights, which is on the nose, and the landing lights, which come out of the wing. So the lights are all white, and then the blue is all of our de-ice stuff, blue being cold and ice. So we have a de-ice light. If I flip that on, there's a light on the outside of the engine nacelle, and it shines down the wing. So you can tell when you're picking up ice and when you want to do the prop de-ice. So, or the, when you want to do the boots. So right here is the switch for the boots. You have deflate and actuate. So you push that up, the boots expand, pull that down, the boots deflate, and you have lights over here that are supposed to show that inflate deflating process. I don't know if you can see them, they're very dim, but the lights work. So before I keep giving my cockpit tour, we are past an hour and a half. 90 minutes is what you need for switching the fuel tanks. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, we're going to flip the aux fuel tanks, or the, we're going to flip the fuel pumps, the auxiliary pumps down to low. We'll just do the left engine first. The left one's on low. And then what I like to do is go ahead and get our count up timer going. And then you're going to reach down here and you go to the left aux tank. And you come right back up here and look, and you want to make sure that you have good fuel pressure and the fuel flows have stabilized, they're back to normal. Then I hit enter to start the clock, and then you come back over and you flip the fuel pump off and make sure that your fuel flows are still good. So why we're doing one at a time is we have 1 hour and 5 minutes of fuel in the aux tanks. If you offset them by 5 minutes apart, they don't go dead at the same time. So that's why I have with this timer here, and that's how we're going to play that. So back over here,
Julius here is with you.
We covered the lights. These are the panel lights, the intensities of the panel lights. The rest of this stuff is just circuit breakers. I have the cabin heat and the autopilot collared red so I can find them quickly and pull them if I need to. And then that's my avionics master switch.
15,000 direct Hugo 836.
So the prop de-ice, you turn that on, and then that's what this is showing. So that's why we kind of ended up over there. This is the oxygen cylinder pressure. You could put an oxygen cylinder in the nose of the airplane. You could fill up that oxygen cylinder. And then if you look up on the ceiling here, you got a pilot, co-pilot, and then there's passengers' oxygen tanks on for each seat, or oxygen lines for each seat. So you could do it that way. However, I don't fly up high enough. I like to have the weight. If anything, me and Jimmy might get a temporary oxygen tank for over here, but we're not gonna get anything that is that serious. So that covers all this stuff. Up here we have the Cessna Tri Gauges. There's 3 sides to the gauge. The tops, they show the left and right engine respectively. Top shows oil pressure. We're good in the green. Cylinder head temperatures, they're fine, although we have all this stuff over here. And then your oil temp, which is good. On this gauge, I also have oil pressure, and I have cylinder head temperatures on every cylinder, which is much more accurate over here. Then we have these 2 instruments are the manifold pressure, left and right. Each needle's labeled right now. They're perfectly opposed on each other. And RPMs. Again, over here, I have manifold pressure and RPMs. It's very accurate and it's displayed nicely right in front of me.
November 6 Juliet Sierra, contact Memphis Center, 126.
I reference that most of the time.
26.
Most people know my fuel pressure gauge is a little wonky. The needles.
November 1 Bravo Charlie, contact Kansas City Center, 128.6.
128.6 for Kansas City, 1 Bravo Charlie. Y'all have a good one. So we dial 128.6 in, switch over, and we'll give Kansas City a call. Kansas City Center, Twin Cessna 771, Bravo Charlie's with you, 7,500.
Alright, 771 Bravo Charlie, Kansas City Center, welcome Springfield, altimeter 3029er.
3029, 1 BC.
Kansas City, citation 836 Juliet Sierra's with you,
Alright.
3,000 kilometers.
That covers that. The fuel gauges, I think most people have seen, I've talked to nauseam about them. They're about as accurate as every other Cessna fuel gauge for this vintage. I do anticipate getting new fuel gauges with some modern fuel senders at some point in the future here. So for the time being, you can see the light. That's because we're on the left aux tank. When you're on the aux tank, the needle just shows the theoretical quantity in that tank that's selected. Right now we're on the right main tank, so the right main tank is showing the fuel in the right main tank. The mains, again, are the tips. The aux tanks are that red inside the wing. Their fuel caps are red. You can see them out there. So there's 50 gallons in each tip and 31.5 gallons in each wing for 163 total gallons. And then if you want to go back to see the main, you can flip the switch forward and it shows the main. The needles go back and forth because it's just a little float sensor in there. And as we're bumping around right now, which we're bumping around right now,
3029er,
it takes care of that for us. Alright, that covers all the gauges on the right side that we had talked about. Now we're at 5 minutes, so I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to go right engine, aux fuel pump low, come down here, right aux, look up here, we have fuel pressures are good, fuel flows are normal, right aux goes off, and we did that right at 5 minutes. So now we're 5 minutes apart. We're going to burn an hour and then switch back to the mains on the left, and then when that says an hour and 5, we'll switch back to the mains on the right. Then what we have here is, which we've covered before, is the cabin heat control. The wing walkway light starts a light outside the aircraft when we're walking. This is all the heating and air controls. This is the old school cigarette lighter that I use to charge things like my iPad while I'm in flight. It's so amazing. I have all the time to talk to you guys about this because Mr. STEC 3100 here is just flying this so perfectly.
1 Bravo Charlie traffic, 12 o'clock, 5 miles southeastbound traffic. Altitude indicates 3,400 unverified.
1 Bravo Charlie is searching, thank you. So I like to go to the traffic page just to verify what he said. It's about 12 o'clock, 5 miles, and 4,000 feet below us. So you may be wondering, why on earth did air traffic just issue us traffic on somebody that's 4,000 feet below us? Could that possibly be a factor? Well, if you'll notice, he said that it was unverified. So the guy's just flying around. Air traffic hasn't verified his mode C yet. So they know that there's a plane there because they're getting primary targets. So when the radar is spinning, they know for sure there's a plane there. And they know his transponder says that he's down there at 3,500. But since they haven't verified it, the transponder could be off and he could easily be right here at 7,500. So that's why they issue that if the targets are merging. So we have the flaps, which we can put out the first notch of flaps below 180. The rest of it's 160, which is also the gear speed. Then we have this that shows if you lose one of the two alternators, there's one on each engine, the light will indicate showing you that, hey, you lost that alternator. This right here is just showing, you can select the left alternator and it shows just above 0. The right alternator is right around 0. The battery is right around 0. The volts are up there at about 28, which all makes sense. This is a 24 volt system. So we got 28.8 volts on the system right now, which is showing that there's charging the battery. The alternators are producing enough electricity so that we don't have any draw on the batteries. Then you guys are familiar with my gear lights. Red, it means that they're unlocked. 3 in the green, there's green light for each one, gear up and down. That's what the yoke looks like. That used to be the thing that I touched to fly the airplane.
Kilo, contact Kansas City Center, 124.3, good day.
Before I was replaced.
124.3, 72 kilo.
By that guy. So, new is we have this trim switch when the autopilot's not on, and if you make sure you do both sides at the same time,
good rides into Kansas City today.
then that will electrically trim the wheel. I've used the manual trims for so long that earlier I was still finding myself manually trimming it. Then the red here is our autopilot disconnect switch. The blue here is control wheel steering. And then the button through my pretty modern looking yoke
American 1916, Kansas City Center, low.
That button is the go around button. So right here, hit the go around easy. I can hit the autopilot disconnect very easy. We're good to go. And that's our push to talk. Part of the autopilot modernization. Pretty exciting.
And that's Envoy 3660. I don't need any speed for you. You're the one asking, right?
I promise, so I will grab this thing again. It'll be time to flare the plane at some point.
Who's asking about the speeds? I'm not understanding the call time.
I will stay proficient though. At hand flying.